And I know that there are going to be other speakers today.
Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascón making the announcement that the Menendez brothers, who killed their parents back in the late 80s, will be eligible for resentencing. He will essentially go to the court tomorrow and petition for the resentencing of the brothers, saying because of their age, Laura Jarrett, let me bring you into this, because of their age, they could be eligible to be released virtually immediately.
Yes, because of their age at the time of the murders, they were under 26 years old, just 21 and 18 at the time. That makes them eligible for parole. So let's talk about the reasons that were offered, which are really fascinating if you think about it, Lester. This is a district attorney who campaigned on reform, who has sort of been at the front tier of resentencing efforts like this, facing an enormous amount of pressure from the public, from celebrities, to look at this case. And he's laying out the abuse that he says he believes that they suffered at the hands of their father, something that did not come in that second trial. It did come in the first, but not in the second trial. Also talking about the amount of time that they've been behind bars. Obviously, as you said, they were convicted in 1996, have been behind bars for more than 3 decades now. And those two factors leading him to advocating for them to be resentenced now. Under the law, you can be resentenced for what's known in the interests of justice. That's the standard. And one of the criteria is when somebody who is alleging a physical or sexual abuse, like in this case, was not allowed to present that evidence in the time of the original sentencing. And so that's part of the factors that Gascón is mentioning here, talking about how cultural norms on that issue have changed.
And Gascón said he's not making excuses for them, in fact, but he says they have paid their dues. That's his assessment of making this decision. I want to talk about something else we heard here. He was very clear that there is opposition within the DA's office as to whether this is a proper decision, and he suggested that we will see or hear from some of those people from his office when this case goes to the court tomorrow.
Yeah, so pretty interesting and frankly, interesting strategies to sort of get out ahead of what would likely be certain reporting by us and I'm sure other outlets who would be hearing from sources who would be saying there is dissension within the office on this, a split, if you will, about whether they should face resentencing. He said there are people in the office who do not believe that they were actually molested. There are people in the office who believe that they should get out today. And he's suggesting that Gascón suggesting that people might actually come and testify or at least present their arguments to the judge tomorrow or in the coming weeks about why they should not be resentenced. Obviously, he believes that they should be. He believes that they should not die in prison. But it would be interesting to hear from members of his office who are currently there if they do choose to actually go in front of the judge and make that case.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.